You know, it's not just a hobby. It's not just an activity. It's just not something I just go do on weekends. It's part of every aspect of my life. I'm a hunter. That's first and foremost how I identify myself.
You know, stories are made up of many parts. It's not just one thing. There's a beginning and there's an end.
The way I grew up, it changed my life.
But usually what makes up the best part of stories is the middle. And those details are made up of the people and the places and the things.
When I look out there, all I see is freedom and opportunity. I'm convinced that if it wouldn't have been for hunting, that I probably wouldn't be in a very good place right now.
I don't know where I'm going, but I don't want to know.
You know, what intrigues me is when you're born a Texan, it doesn't take you very long to understand that Texans, we have our own identity. My name is Russell Graves. I'm originally from Dodge City, Texas, and I'm a professional photographer.
Texas is almost like a country in itself. I mean, you got West Texas, you got the Panhandle, you got the Hill Country, and then you got little areas here like Maryneal.
Places like Maryneal, even though they've got their backs against the wall from a worldly standpoint, but what you'll find are people who live around here that absolutely love this place.
Unless you're a hunter, you're never gonna really have a reason to come to a place like this. It's one of the most remote areas of Texas I've been to. You know, I'm gonna switch paper. I think I'm about right there now. My name's Josh Dahlke. Fortunately, I'm able to do a lot of hunting for my job with a mobile app company called ScoutLook.
Josh is a young man I met a few years ago at a media event in Michigan.
I get a great deal of satisfaction being able to do this and tell stories and communicate with people and motivate them.
He's bright and he's capable and he's talented.
That's one of the cool parts about being a hunter. It brings you to places that are often overlooked. There aren't a lot of people who've probably even heard of this place, let alone seen it, let alone hunted in it. That was two of them. There's a good chance that they're roosting in the same exact trees every night. So they'll fly down and then they'll go on their daily walk. Turkeys have nowhere to go and all day to get there.
Rio Grande turkeys are creatures of habit. To figure out turkeys in this country, you find the roost trees and figure out their travel patterns.
I've never seen a traditional roost in Minnesota. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I sure had never come across one.
And so what I do is I'll just go try to scout, just try to outsmart the animals.
I should get a photo of this. Usually there's piles of feathers too.
And try to be where I think they're gonna be. And if I know where they're gonna be, I'll try to intercept their path.
Russell's a true professional, so I really have a lot of respect for him, and I admire his work.
I've been doing professional photography for probably 30 years now. Taking wildlife photos is the same as hunting.
My photography was and still is, I would humbly say, pretty amateur. He's the real deal.
But all the same things apply. I'm using the same gear, I'm using the same techniques, I'm using all the same thing. I don't mind taking them with a shotgun, but I also love taking them with the camera too.
I think it's really important, especially in today's day and age where hunting is becoming more of a novelty. You need to show people why it's so awesome. And that's done through articles, it's done through videos, it's done through social media now.
I'll just try to honor the bird and take pictures of, not only the bird itself, his spurs, his beard, just the color of his feathers, and really try to document every little bit I can. Just the iridescence of them, they just shine in the right light. Growing up out in the country as a young kid, I was always enamored with that kind of lifestyle. And as I started taking pictures of it, I became enamored with not only the farming and ranching lifestyle, but the hunting and outdoors and really everything you can do in rural spaces outside the city limits. Photography I specialize in, I call it rural lifestyles.
Yeah, Russell, probably one of the most well-known photographers in Texas. We're driving down the interstate, he's like, oh, on the billboard, I took that photo. That's pretty sweet.
But I think really what drives me now as I get older is kind of a legacy that one of these days, hopefully, someone will look back at my little slice of time, that'll mean something to somebody long after I'm gone.
When you get down into the real meat of it, it's a journey, and it's a heck of a journey. Hunting is such a positive thing, just how it can impact someone's life like mine.
You know, what I've gotten to know about Josh over the years is he understands where he wants to be and the story he wants to tell.
probably about 10 years ago. I worked in 3 different restaurants. I graduated from college with a journalism degree.
It would make no sense if I told you a story and say, I drove across Texas and went turkey hunting. You want to know the details, right?
And it was right after 9/11, and we were still in the Great Recession, and it was probably one of the worst times in history for a journalist to get a job.
So visually, every story you try to tell, think about what are the details in this story.
There wasn't a whole lot of room for guys like me. So I continued to make money the only way I knew how, and that was through cooking. One day I was sitting in my $500 a month apartment, and I just said, I can't take this anymore. What's the end game? And I sat in my apartment for an entire week, and I didn't leave, and prepared for an interview. And I said, there's no way I'm gonna go to this interview and not get this job. And luckily I did, and that propelled me into the hunting industry as an outdoor communicator. Hunting is so many different things to me. Seeing as we're in Texas and some of the best wood smoke comes off of mesquite, a few mesquite trees around, I think we're gonna put this thing over some fire and get real primal about it. And naturally, cooking wild game became something that was at first very challenging, as it is for a lot of people. Look at these feathers. They really are a work of art, every single one of them, every subspecies. Challenges are fun because when you overcome them, usually the reward is a lot greater, so.
Josh is a well-known cooking extraordinary in the outdoor industry, I would say. I mean, recipes on Outdoor Life. Well, didn't you just do a big thing with NWTF?
Helps me wake up every day and have a reason to go see the next sunrise or sunset. And for me, that reason is to pursue game that I can put on my table.
Out here, and I don't mean to sensationalize it, but this is dangerous country. You get a mile away from here, that's deadly territory. And so I think any kind of tool you can use, like the Can-Am Defender, allow you, if you do get stuck or if you do get in a bind, you're probably going to be able to get yourself out.
What does it all boil down to? Enjoy the simple things. It doesn't take a lot to make me happy. As long as I can put meat on the table that I procured with my own hands, that's what I want out of all this.
When I'm traveling across country like this, I'm carrying thousands of dollars worth of gear. To have a tool that not only will get you from point A to point B efficiently and quietly, I think ultimately in a bigger picture is probably important for your overall safety.
Cooking wild game is such a huge part of why I hunt. Something about a fire burning that, I don't know, like it builds on the nostalgia or something with the hunt, and it's like another level of sensory that you can't get from just visual things, and it makes you feel good inside.
My soul.